Thank you, Kent and Joy, and we are past the midway point of the high school football season. Once it gets going, it starts to fly, and our Super 10 is reflecting quite a few changes after mid-season games. Let's jump in. Oakleaf, they fall, the big fall of the week. From 6 to 10, they lost 44-28 to Bowles. A big loss for them. They had not played too many times during the regular season. They've had a couple weeks off, one due to a hurricane, second due to a bye week. But again, Oakleaf and Coach Christopher Foy in good shape. They have a huge game on Friday night against Creekside. That was one of the best games last year. 1 point Oakleaf lost, and it is a big district game. Chance for the Knights to stay unbeaten in district play. Number 9, University Christian went down to Key West last week and won big on the road. They are back in action this week at home against Providence. That's a big game for UC. Providence is coming into this game hot. They've won 4 in a row. So good one for David Pinland III and the Christians. Rains, they drop a spot after a win last week, 27-26 over Ocala Trinity Catholic, and they have a huge game on Friday night against Riverside. They played Riverside twice last year, beat them both times, but Riverside is surging. They actually punched a district championship win last week over Ed White, so they are already in the playoffs. Rain just struggled a little bit on offense, so we'll see if Donovan Maslin and the Vikings can get going this week against Riverside. Riverside has been ascending, and they are playing very well for Coach Antoine Nicholas. Ponte Vedra still staying put at number 7. They've won their 3rd game in a row. Since a week 1 loss to Bartram Trail, they beat Menendez 32-12, so they are in good shape. They have a big one against Flagler Palm Coast on Friday. It's going to go a long way in determining a district champion in that suburban district for Ponte Vedra. Trinity Christian, they drop a spot this week, and really through no fault of their own, just kind of what happened ahead of them. They went to Lake City and beat Columbia 27-13 last week, win their 4th straight in that series. That's always a good one. They have a big test on Friday at home against Rockledge. It's really the second half of that schedule for Trinity Christian really kind of beefs up over these next few weeks. So Verlin Dormany, Colin Hurley and company over there are going to get some good ones, and big one on Friday night against Rockledge. Making the turn into our top 5, and got to answer some questions on Bowles, okay? People see the 2-3 record. They say team with 3 losses should not be anywhere near the top 10 in this area, but Bowles is a different story. They have lost 3 games to exceptional teams who all 3 of those teams were unbeaten until last week when one of them lost. So they go to Oakleaf last week and win 44-28, and they've got a so front-loaded portion of the schedule. Max Preps has them ranked 4th in our area, so people who see those 3 losses and kind of question Bowles' schedule has just been remarkably tough, and they have won 2 games over Super 10 teams, Trinity Christian and Oakleaf, the last 2 weeks. So they make the big jump from 10 to 5 this week. So Matt Toblin and company are doing well, and they get into district play this week against Episcopal. Second half of Bowles' schedule, nothing like the first. They should coast in most of those games. Bartram Trail, previously a number 1 team a few weeks ago, they've lost 2 in a row. They lost last week to St. Augustine 34-31. Really nothing to worry about for Bartram. Yes, they ended a 5-game winning streak over St. Augustine. The Bears still in pretty good position. They've got a district opener on Friday against Fleming Island. And former coach Chad Parker, so that'd be a good one, a resumption of a rivalry there. Mandarin. You notice Mandarin lost last week to Creekside 23-22. They dropped from the number 1 spot all the way down to 3. And they've got a tough one on Friday night against Lake Mary, unbeaten Lake Mary. And they could see Lake Mary again in the playoffs. Bradford, they were off last week. What left to be said about their defense? They've given up 2 touchdowns all season long. Started the season number 2, and they're back at number 2 for right now. They've got Keystone Heights in a district game. They win on Friday night. That'll set up a Palatka showdown for later in October for that district championship. And number 1, if you paid attention last Friday, no surprise there, but St. Augustine, they are our 4th new number 1 team of the season. 34-31 over Bartram Trail last week, and another classic, ended a 5-year losing streak to the Bears, and really kind of took the next step to kind of get through and get to that halfway point of the season. They won with their backup quarterback, Dylan Cook, for the 2nd straight week. So Brian Braddock and the Yellow Jackets surgeon, they host Matanzas this week. Now, if you like high school football, you can tune in to our game of the week. We have a great one in Nassau County on Friday night. Yulee going to Fernandina Beach. They have just dominated this series against the Pirates. They hold a 13-3 edge, and we'll see if Fernandina could get back on the winning track. That game will be streamed on News4Jax.com and News4Jax Plus on Friday night. That's a wrap for our high school football Super 10 coverage this week. Stay with us at 11. Alessandra Punt-Bryan and Frank Frangie will have a college football in this week's edition of Campus Corner. That's it for sports.